So having travelled into France recently for what was effectively my first proper European trip for 5 days, one of the things I found the toughest was trying to find the right kit for that trip, and I wanted to take it seriously. I didn't want to go out there on a whim and a prayer. And whilst there's loads of groups out there that give you advice on this sort of stuff, there's not a lot of groups out there that compare. Now, there's loads of other boats. We're going to look at boats today. And although these boats are similar prices, slightly different maybe, but you can buy them from all sort of general fishing stockists. I wanted to look at two primary commercial boats. So you've got the Nash 240 and the Fox 240. I used both of these boats on my trip. I went with somebody else. That person used the Nash and I used the Fox, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And I want to give you just a little bit of insight into why I use these boats, what I thought of them. I can't compare them to any other boats out there, the Raptors and all that sort of stuff, because I haven't used them. But we'll go through these boats nice and quick and give you the pros and the cons. First up, let's have a look at the Nash 240. Now, let's do a really quick pros and cons. First of all, it's got the new inflatable kiln. This one actually came with an air deck, which I have to say I really enjoyed using. Pumps up, you get it up to about 1 bar, I think, and it gives you something super stable. I actually stood up some of the time. When it was super windy, I did say sat down, but it's got a lovely flat front to it, but when you blow up the inflatable kiln below the air deck, the boat actually comes up, and the inflatable kiln is actually only at the front of the boat really, or the bulk of it is at the front, and that keeps it lovely and stable in the water. Now, looking at the back of the boat, it's got a lovely hard back, properly sealed. Over time, I can see that those seals probably won't last forever, but it's the same with the Fox boat, to be honest. I think they're probably made as well as they can be for this type of boat and type of money. One thing that we found really useful was the drainage slot on the bottom here, just to be able to let water out, take everything out of the boat, lift the boat up from the front, water drains out. Both boats have them, so that's not unique, but that was very useful. The one thing I'd say about this 240, it's amazing how two boats can be a little bit different really. Just pull this one back. The Fox boat feels supremely bigger, even as a 240. It is wider for definite. And I can't remember the measurements, but you can check that out yourself. But as a boat, one thing I did like about this, handles are in the right place, so if there's two of you, they're really easy to carry. I really liked that it had ropes on the side. It made securing kit when I was moving swims really good. And the Nash boat comes with slightly shorter oars. We didn't use the oars, so it didn't really make much of a difference to us, but it worked perfectly. If you're in the market, I think this one was slightly cheaper than the Fox one. If you're in the market for your first European trip, or you're allowed to use boats, I definitely would recommend the Nash 240. Personally, I wouldn't go any smaller than this, even if it was a smaller, more intimate lake. I wanted to feel safe and feel stable. That was one of the most important things for me. To the Fox boat, I've not actually fully pumped this up, so it probably looks a little bit out of shape, but I've just been a bit lazy. The first thing you notice compared to the Nash boat is that the front is much higher lipped, which I have to say, it did make the boat feel a lot smoother through the water. It's still got an air deck, it's still got an inflatable kiln as well, but I don't know if you can see from the video, it is definitely much wider. It feels probably 30 centimetres, maybe 40 centimetres wider, so maybe that's an exaggeration, but it is definitely wider. It actually shares a lot of the same parts as the Nash boat, so I'm not suggesting that they're made in the same factory, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're made on similar location and they're just made to spec based on what Nash or Fox order. I like the rear of this boat. I thought the chambers at the back stuck out a little bit longer. This boat felt a touch more secure and safer in the water. So I definitely, this was the boat that I used. Because it's bigger, it doesn't manoeuvre quite as well as the Nash boat. So again, if you're fishing small intimate waters with lots of weed, I would definitely use the Nash boat. But if you're out there in France doing it on anything over 100 acres, I think this Fox boat is definitely the one for you. It's got no ropes on the side, but it has got Velcro securing straps on each side of the boat, which I used to secure my net when I was just travelling out and about, not necessarily bringing the fish back in those. but nonetheless, they were really handy just for keeping the net in one place, keeping it out of the water so it didn't affect how we were travelling at the time. Handles all over the place on this boat. Big handle at the front here as well to attach a flotation device so that you can stake your boat into a pontoon or a jetty or the ground, etc. I would say I felt like the Nash boat, actually, the seams and the attachments were actually slightly better made, but maybe that was because I was a bit rougher with this boat because we were using it so much. And you won't be able to see, but I actually had a small tear just on the handle here. Nothing that affected the boat or the chamber, etc. Like I said, both of these boats have very, very similar parts with mild modifications to each. You know, the Nash boat has the ropes on the side, this one doesn't on the Fox. But having said that, I did prefer personally using the Fox for no real reason other than I used it more and therefore I got used to using it and manoeuvring it. What I did like about the Fox boat is it has a mount at the rear, not just for the motor but also for the echo sounder pole, and we used I'm going to review this Raymarine Element 7 echo sounder, which was brilliant. I can't compare it to anything other than a deeper, but it was brilliant, and that for me was really helpful, having a specific mount so it always stayed where it stayed. So on the whole, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these boats if it's your first trip into France. They're both going to set you back between probably £650 and around about £800, depending on where you buy them from. Personally, I would not buy a boat second-hand. Your life is very much in the hands of the boat, so I would buy one brand new if you can afford it. I'd maybe spend a little bit less on a motor or a second-hand motor and an echo sounder and save money that way. I definitely recommend getting yourself a quick clip. These are the Nash ones, but other companies do them. Just made life so easy with getting the boat in and out of clip and storing them in the water, etc. And I definitely would also thoroughly recommend getting an electric air pump. I used the Nash one just because it came with this boat and I didn't get one with the Fox one. So that is my very quick review. If I was going to buy one again today, I would definitely buy the Fox one. It's got a little lip on it here as well, which stopped the water coming up over the front of the boat so it didn't get wet, whereas the Nash one doesn't have that. But then again, the Nash has the ropes on the side. It's definitely a little bit lighter. Fox is a little bit heavier. That's just how it feels. I might have got the actual weights might be the same, but I don't think they are. I still recommend the Fox one, very stable, and the Nash one's great for manoeuvrability. But they are a great starter boat each to get yourself out into Europe, onto some of these big lakes and get yourself fishing.